beautiful morning to you and welcome to Business Focus, the business program that unravels the complexities of the corporate world and brings you insights on forefront of commerce and economy. Today we'll be looking at the power sector. We'll be looking at the power sector, analyzing why it's taken forever for our government to get it right. It is essential for every nation to it is essential for every nation to work on the power sector for their growth and development, especially socio-economic developments. We'll take a short break. We'll come back for the stock, commodity markets, and the currency market too. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We'll look at the equities market now for the highest trades. The highest trades, we have First Bank Nigeria Holdings with 55 trades at the volume of 1,286 at the value of 36,559,000. Access Corp comes second with 44 trades at the volume of 1,591,000 at the value of 33,280,000. Sterling Nigeria comes next at the trades with the 30 trades at the volume of 1,591,000 at the value of 35,834,000. We'll take a look at the top gainers, and the gainers for today. At the top of the list we have Thumbers WY with positive 9.93%. and First Bank Holding with positive 9.91%, and third on the list we have Multiverse at positive 9.90%. The losers we have Mansard at negative 9.69%, and Uni Insurance at negative 9.68%, and we have third on the bottom losers and Owando with negative 9.13%. The currency market for today is selling officially at the official market. We sell the Naira at 951 to a dollar. And the parallel market, at the parallel market, the dollar is being sold at 1,165 Naira to a dollar. Mr. Olatunde Olatui is here to analyze the numbers for us. Good morning, Mr. Tunde.
Yeah, good morning.
You have heard the equities. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so generally, anytime the market is doing well, investors are happy, analysts are happy. One would have wondered, or one would have believed that since the fixed income market is even doing well now, like looking at the treasury bills auction that we've been seeing for the past weeks, one would have thought that maybe we may be seeing slower activities in the equities market and be seeing people migrating to the fixed income side of the market. But I'm pleased seeing that even the equities market is posting good gains. The local bourse extended the gains for yesterday. We could see investors having form of bargain hunting around GTCO. GTCO grew by 1.5%. We also saw for some other banks. All the rally that we are seeing around banking stocks are really, really encouraging and really impressive. So generally yesterday the market grew, ASI grew, and year to date now the ASI has grown about 40% already. Market cap is at 39.2 trillion already. And even looking at sectoral performance, though we noticed that insurance still posted decline, consumer posted decline, but all other major sectors, particularly banking sector, posted very good gain. And it's also worthy of note that FBNH has now joined the Suit Club. That's the stock worth over 1 trillion. So we also saw that yesterday. So generally, market performance yesterday was really, really good. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about the gainers, the heavyweight for today? What are your thoughts on that?
So the heavyweight for yesterday, if you can look at the top gainers, they still reflect what we saw 2 days ago. Like the Thomas White still posted gain. FBNH has really been on advanced rally for trading now. Multiverse is there. ETI also showed very good performance and rally. The reason why we see people having rally around the banking stocks, number one is still the valuation gain. You know, the devaluation really favored that sector. Also, people keep having more confidence in the sector. People keep believing that aside from capital gain that you get to benefit from banking stocks, people are also looking at dividend yield because they are not unexpected. So.
Okay, what about the losers? Did you expect Owando to be on the list?
Well, it is not shocking. That does not mean that the company is not doing well because at least we saw their Q3 reports. True. And even the other ones that posted gain, I mean, loss is not majorly because the performance as an organization or as a company is doubtful or faulty. It's just market sentiment sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so the currency market, yesterday the Naira sold at 806 and today, Monday it was sold at 806 and Tuesday it sold at 951. So what do you think about the fluctuation? We were praying, we were happy it gained and now it's going all the way down.
Yeah, the fluctuation has always been historical, it's part of the system. You know, speculation would always be there, even dollarization would always be there, and these are the variables that would always come to play and determine volatility of the price. But the CBN and the federal government to find a way to de-dollarize the economy, it should be Naira driven. You know, the speculation will be reduced and at least you can find a form of balance and the Naira. So considering some of the programs that CBN has lined up to defend and to ensure that the Naira is performing well, we believe that in short term, we expect more stability in that space. Yes.
Okay, so we're projecting now. What's your projection of the equities market for today?
Okay, for equities market, like I'm even currently looking at the markets and I can still see that we have level of buying interest in some selected stocks. So they will be defensive and keep being posting good capital gains. So we expect another run, not just for today, even for the remaining part of the year.
How about the Naira, Mr. Olatuyi? What's your projection of the Naira? Do you think it would appreciate or depreciate?
Well, we can only hope for the best. And
True.
To a level, I feel that CBN have been more intentional that was held yesterday.
Okay, you can go ahead.
So for T-bills, we saw that for 91 expansion, the yield expanded to 8%, and even for 182-day bill, it also expanded by another 100 basis points, now at 12%. So generally, we've been seeing more of investors' interest around T-bills, and yesterday alone, total amount traded was about 1.8 trillion.
Okay, that's
very
great.
good one for the fixed income side.
True. Thank you very much for that insight, Mr. Olatuyi. See you next time. Have a good day. That was our financial analyst discussing the numbers with us. We'll take a break, come back for the interview segment of the program. A financial analyst and FCA member to discuss the power sector for today. We'll be analyzing that. Mr. Wale Olawale, welcome to the show, Mr. Olawale Joshua, and good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Welcome to Business Focus.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
So the power sector.
Yep.
Generally, what do you think about the power situation in the country?
I'll still believe that the power situation in the country is still in transit. It has not gotten to where it will be able to pull the weight of energy needs of Nigeria, of Nigerian business sector itself. So I believe that energy needs within the country is not being well catered for by the energy supply chains. So we need to do more, improve more, and try being deliberate about activities within the energy sector. And we need to concentrate on the renewable energy and isolated power plants. So we need to do much more on that. So we commend government activities over the years in reviving the electricity sector, knowing fully well that there is a kind of population boom, a kind of equipment usage increase. I mean, energy needs increase. So we need to work deliberately on that and to make sure that those gaps are being nipped at the bud.
Do you think with the resources at the disposal of the government, do you think it has done quite enough?
Well, the energy sector,
human resources, yes, we have a lot of resources. Energy
resources, foreign direct investment, we have the capital growth. I mean, some of our discos have approached the Nigeria Stock Exchange and they floated their shares on the stock exchange. So one would have expected that much will have been done in respect of that, but I believe that there are a lot of interests, there are a lot of values to be considered when talking about energy sector, and these values are working against the government policy or the expected outcome of these policies. Expected outcome of the policies were to serve Nigeria better, but we have other interests. Some people will allege that importers of power generating sets sabotage the efforts of the government in making sure that energy is being well supplied to Nigerians, and as well as energy thefts. We have a lot of things that are militating against. Then we have sincerity in privatization of this sector, seeing that many distribution companies are now their shares are now being transferred back to the federal government. So we have many things that militates against achieving the set objective of the power targets.
So, Mr. Olawale Joshua, what would you say is the biggest challenge concerning the power sector as at present?
Infrastructure.
Okay.
Infrastructure is the biggest challenge militating against the power sector. We have infrastructure in many sides. We have the generating side, we have the distribution side, we have the transmission stage. Then we have other value chains, which is bulk electricity purchase. Then we have the moral side of consumers. We have energy theft. We have a lot of things which we need to consider when talking about the gaps within the electricity sector. One of those things are the generating plants. Are they well equipped? Do they get enough gas? Do they get enough water? Do they get enough atomic energy to power them, if there is any? Do they get enough coal to power them, if there is any coal-fired plants in Nigeria? So we look at that. Then we look at the transmission network. Are they healthy enough to carry the capacity of what we have, evacuate the capacity of power being generated? When we come to the downstream sector, are we well metered to know what we are going to actually pay? Are the transformers well functioning? Are the distribution cables well functioning? Are they in good condition to bear the weights of the load they are supposed to carry? Then are are the transformer per square meter of household, are they reasonable enough to shoulder the weights of the loads they are expected to carry? So we have a lot of things to do in terms of infrastructure, and we know that infrastructure and technology is improving every day. So we can't use yesterday's technology to solve today's problem. So we need to keep abreast of what the technological sector is saying to improve whatever we have. You can't have a new generating plant being rested on old technology. It won't work. It will not work. It will not work. So we need technology, a good technology base in Nigeria.
Okay, so on the technology we need, the federal government has announced the acquiring of the supervisory control and data acquisition. That's the SCADA.
Yep.
Could you run us through what that is, what that does, what it means for the Nigerian power sector?
The program is meant to tackle the grid collapse in Nigerian electricity distribution value chain. The grid collapse has been frequent. As of today, we have 46. The grid has collapsed 46 times between 2017 and 2022. So there is a need to check that, and the resultant effect of grid collapse as hitting deep into the gross domestic product of our nation, and as collectively as sub-Saharan Africa. So it's difficult to look away from solving the issues of grid collapse. So in solving the issues of grid collapse, there is a need to do a data collection, a real-time data collection procedure, and a real-time information dissemination procedure, which the program is actually meant to tackle. This program will give real-time information about what consumers are demanding for and what the grid is able to shoulder, and what the generating companies are meant to push onto the grid. So that's what SCADA is meant to look into. And if we can get it right, I believe we will get the right information in order not to overburden the grid, in order not to overburden the grid line and collapse it frequently, either knowingly or unknowingly. Ignorantly in the sense that we don't have enough information to know the right mix of what we are going to send onto the grid, and deliberately in the fact that we know but we don't have any choice than to push it. If we get it right in this area of data supplies, we'll be able to know whether to improve, whether to supply, or whether to stop the process of supplying some group of areas. What we notice in Nigeria is that there is a kind of population growth, a kind of industrial growth, which is not being reported or recorded on the electricity mapping system of Nigeria. Okay. So if we have that, we have equipment which are too heavy and bulky enough, which steel milling companies are corporate of this, which are too heavy and bulky enough to draw much energy from the grids than what the grid can supply from. So we need a proper energy mapping system, a proper energy stratification system, and a proper grid management system, which SCADA is coming in to bridge the gap.
Okay, Mr. Joshua, you mentioned getting it right. You know, on getting it right, we have a problem. It's like we have a problem with a very big problem with implementing things. The World Bank has provided the equipment. They're in the country. How would you say the government should go about implementing it? Because for the fact that the equipment are here, you mentioned theft of power supply. Yep. It's possible. So even without mounting it, getting the equipment in or working, getting them running, people could help us pick them up and just and then the country will say we can't find them.
You can't find
it's
them.
very normal with this country. So how would you say the country should go about getting it right this time? Because it's supposed to help monitor why there is always power collapse in the country.
We don't have any choice than to get it right as a nation, because we need to reverse the trend of our technical skills, our technical brains traveling abroad in search of greener pasture. We need to reverse the trend of our healthy companies closing down because of lack of power supplies. We need to reverse the trend of seeking for foreign direct investments, which will only which will not come due to power issues within the country. So we need to stop and reflect on this. While reflecting on this, we need to improve our securities, and we need to up our games in terms of protecting the critical infrastructural assets, critical national infrastructures, which I believe that Nigeria Civil Defense is equipped to do. And we need to equally make sure that the community to which these infrastructures are domiciled are well incentivized to protect, blow whistle in terms of vandalization, and even own the projects themselves. So we need to work in that, and I think the 2023 Power Act has provided for that, because we have something that caters for the host community development, and we have something that caters for a kind of ensuring that the community is well developed and they own that project. So that I believe can cater for that.
Okay. Mr. Joshua is explaining to us how we should get it right. He mentioned we don't have a choice but to get it right this time around. We'll take a short break, get a drink of water. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Welcome back. Before we left on the break, Mr. Joshua was emphasizing how the government should be sure that we get it right. Mr. Joshua, the SCADA, is that the way to go? Is it the way to go, or there could be another way to go? Not the only way to go, but one of the variables to combine together. In tackling grid collapse, there are a lot of variables we need to consider, which I believe that the federal government has considered itself. Before this time, the issue of electricity has been on exclusive list, and which currently is now being given, states are now being given the power to participate in provision of electricity. So I believe that SCADA will come and will give us a good grant to tackle our grid collapse. Apart from tackling our grid collapse, it will give us a good grant in monitoring what we need, what we generate, what we have the capacity of transmit. Apart from that, we need to decentralize our grid supply system. If we can decentralize our grid supply system, it will give us manage the grids within the Nigerian sector. If we can divide the country into stratas where we know that this is what they need at this point, this is the capacity we are giving to this transmission grid, we'll be able to micromanage that electrical mapping space. So that's one. Another thing is the fact that we need to tailor our grid management to which if we are going private, this grid management company, after managing that, we believe that we can't have national grid collapse. All we can have is that we have sectoral grid collapse. If we can manage it to that extent, we believe that there won't be total blackouts. Apart from that, we should look at the renewable energy sector. Renewable energy sector will be able to give us a good grid management process if we can if we can supply what a community need in terms of going green. It will help us in making sure that they are well supplied, they are off grid, and the grid is not stressed up for that. Then SCADA will assist us in getting the data of electricity need for an environment, for an area, supply the feedback to the managers of electricity supplies, and then they get to test whether the grid can carry it or not. So we can't do away with SCADA totally by relying on other methods, and we cannot rely on other methods. We cannot rely on other methods without using SCADA. So we have many other things that we can do to manage the national grid without SCADA. But SCADA is an important factor in achieving the targeted results.
So, Mr. Joshua, while speaking, you mentioned national collapse. You mentioned instead of we keep getting national collapse, instead we get sectoral grid collapse. So what does that mean?
When I mean sectoral grid collapse, I mean partial grid, what they refer to currently as partial grid collapse. If we now sectorize it in the sense that we divide the geopolitical zones, we divide the electricity zones of Nigeria into stratas. When I mean stratas, is an area is meant to be taken care of by this grid management system, not that we have a collective grid management system. So sectoral grid management system can save us from the national grid collapse system. The system we are using currently is that all GENCOs supplies their power into one national grid, and that one national grid distributes to other distribution companies, which when there is an outage, the outage will cut across all the regions in Nigeria. That is when we have national grid collapse. But if you can sectorize it, we have sectoral grid collapse. That is only, let's go by the geopolitical zones. If we have the southeast grid management system, the southeast grid management system, when it collapses, it doesn't affect the northeast grid management system. It doesn't affect the northwest grid management system. So if we can have that, I believe that we can be able to micromanage each grid management system while using SCADA to give information about the needs within that sector and supply the managers of that sector adequate information to manage it. Another way which we can use in managing that is when we allow for overlapping supplies of electricity. That means if I have a co-electricity distribution, for instance, I may have another electricity distribution company who can supply me when there is any grid collapse. If there is any grid collapse, I'm almost double sure that the other distribution company can take up or can pick up the challenge of supplying me till when there is a full power supply. Apart from that, we need to look into the energy payment system. We shouldn't be paying through estimated billings. We should be paying right, and we should be paying the right amount. Then there should be ways of curbing energy theft, because if energy infrastructure costs much more in naira than what we can envisage, and than what we can expose to energy theft and leave it uncontrolled. So we need to do that, and we need to consider much of our energy mix. Energy mix has to do with green energy, has to do with atomic energy, has to do with energy driven by mineral resources, that is coal, has to do with hydroelectricity distribution company. As much as we have rivers in Nigeria, we only have 4 functioning dams in Nigeria, while others are still under construction. 3 in Niger State and 1 in Taraba State. So we still need to do much more on our hydro supplies.
Mr. Joshua, for the fact that the World Bank is sponsoring the SCADA system entirely, are they going to also come with professionals, that's trained professionals to run it, or is there plans to take some of the professionals we have there to be conversant with the system? And what about maintenance? Because we have a problem maintaining what we already have. That's why one of the things, the power outage, is constant and all over the place.
I believe that the manpower will be mixed in the sense that the World Bank is coming with equipment that it's not being used in Nigeria before this time. So we need technocrats that knows about the equipment that will train and retrain the indigenous technology, the indigenous technocrats in Nigeria. So if we can get that, maintenance will not be difficult. Apart from maintenance, servicing will not be difficult, and replicating the technology will not be difficult. We won't be looking towards the direction of World Bank every time we want to replicate that technology. So, and Local Content Act in Nigeria has provided for the fact that we need to transfer technology, and NITDA itself always emphasize on transfer of technology, not that you just bring your technology, you execute it with foreigners, and then you won't transfer any part of the technical know-how to the citizens. So I believe that it will be beneficial to Nigerian engineers, and it will be beneficial to us. Many other professions will benefit from this. Not only engineers, but I believe the technology will be transferred.
Okay. On the budget, there is 5% for overall infrastructure in the country. Do you think that's enough? Because we have it's a driving sector for the whole of the country. If we have gotten the electricity right in the country, we would actually be having higher revenue.
Do you mean the electricity infrastructure?
Yes.
Electricity infrastructure depends on the political budgeting for electricity infrastructure depends on the political will. I believe that much has been spent on generating, distribution, and transmission sector of Nigerian electricity. We need to be seeing the results. So why budgeting for what we've already given commitments to, like the Siemens power project? The counterpart funding has been given to the project and it's ongoing. So there is no need to budget for that counterpart funding again. So it depends on plan. When we talk about budgets, I believe budgets, it's a policy statement detailing the direction to which the government is going to in terms of development and in terms of consumption. So I believe we are good to go in terms of what has been spent previously on electricity infrastructure.
Okay, Mr. Joshua, what do you look forward to with the implementation of the SCADA system?
I'm looking up to sincerity in the sense that Nigeria will be sincere to its own part of the agreement, and the World Bank will be sincere to its own part of the agreement. What I'm looking for is effective utilization of funds, completing the projects before the 2030 benchmark time, and making sure that it serves Nigerians better. I'm looking forward to pulling in much foreign direct investments due to the project, and I'm looking forward to a better life for Nigerian citizens. What I'm looking forward to is a reversal of this, what we call brain drain, because if we have electricity, many of those brains traveling abroad will stay in Nigeria, make use of the electricity, make use of the resources we have, and they will be much more productive in whatever they do, not getting to Germany, getting to US to realize that we can have 24 hours power supply.
Okay, Mr. Joshua has broken it down for us. We'll take a short break. We will come back and we'll take the tidbit for business. Just stay tuned.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Mr. Joshua, what do you have for us for the business tips today?
Nice having me today.
Welcome back.
We congratulate the business environment for successful completion of another 12 months, 12 calendar months period, January to December. And we want to prepare their mind for one or two things. One is to reflect on what has been done in the last 12 months, and to look at what will be applicable in the next 12 months. When we talk about what has been done in the last 12 months, we are talking about our bookkeeping, keeping of our records. Have we kept the right books of accounts? Then have we prepared a bank reconciliation system? So we'll be talking about the year-end business affairs for now. Okay. The year-end business affairs has to do with the stock taking. How prepared are you for the stock taking? As a business owner, please make sure you take your stock and make sure you count the stock within your business premises for the year. Make sure you take this inventories of your assets. How to take inventories of your assets is to take sectional inventories. If you are operating a big one, you take sectional inventories of assets within offices, where they are they in good conditions, what are they like, what's the value like. So that's number one, that's inventory taking. Another part of it is bank reconciliation. Make sure you reconcile your books and make sure that every transaction that went through your bank accounts are well accounted for. Then you reconcile your payables and receivables. That's your debtors and creditors for alternative sakes. So your payables and receivables balances should be well reconciled. Make sure you don't have overdue receivables, overdue payables on your record. It's not healthy for your company. And the best cash management for debtors and creditors is to be quick in collecting your receivables and be slow in paying your payables. Okay. As much as you are maintaining a good relationship with your creditors. So that's a good one for you. Then we look at budgeting. Budgeting is looking at the next year. What are we going to do? Budgeting has to do with your policy. What target are you setting for yourself? What do you want to achieve by next year? Then how do you want to drive the achievements towards that? So you have to do the strength, weakness, SWOT analysis of that company. That's strength, weakness, opportunities and threats, including the risk analysis. When you do the risk analysis, check whether you have the strength to do that. Check whether you have the opportunities around your environment. Check the threats and check the weaknesses of your company. Weaknesses has to do with inside. Threat has to do with outside. Then we have the strength. We have the opportunities. Just check how to achieve this long-term project. Apart from that, budget. Budget will drive what you want to spend. That's the income and expenses. Apart from that, you drive the assets you want to buy, and you drive the liabilities you want to pay. And that is where the loans come in. Do you need loans? Do you need to finance your ambition for next year programs that we expect that you should do?